Hey there, I'm Kayla and this is On the Fritz, where I talk about books in a hot mess fashion. And today I'm going to talk about the worst books I read in 2011. So some of these books I have stronger opinions than others, but this list consists of DNFs and just my lowest rating books from 2011. So first up is That Scandalous Evening by Megan Dodd. I'm not gonna say the authors because I didn't write them down. So That Scandalous Evening. It's a historical romance. Read this in January and my god, this was horrible. So the premise is the heroine, it's her first outing and she's infatuated with this guy and she makes like a statue of him, but he's like nude, and I think she like sculpts his peen really small, and so she basically gets ruined because of that, and then like he hates her for a long time, and then it time jumps like 10 or times jumps to the future, and she's like an escort for someone and they run into each other and they end up together somehow. It was just really cringy because it was very much just like the man was just very insecure and petty because of the statue. And even when they're like adults, like he wants to embarrass her, he wants to get her back for what she did to him, even though she was an innocent and she had no idea what she was doing. And even when they are falling in love, or he is falling with love with her, he still calls her names, and it's like he has this like hate lust for her. So the text was very wordy and cringy, and it just wasn't romantic, and he's horrible to her, and at the very end he has like no big grand gesture and she's just like, yeah, okay, I'll be with you. Like it was just not good at all. Next on my list is Barbarians Lady. Now, hear me out. I just played Barbarians and Ruby Dixon. My favorite. But on the reread, I started rereading this series last year. And on the reread, I just did not click with this book. Like, I don't know if it was just my mood or what, but of all the books in the series, minus Barbarians Hope, because I also don't like that one, but I skipped it because I knew I didn't like it. But I read Barbarians Lady, reread it, and it was just really boring. Like, not a lot happens in this book. There is some caretaking, which I like, but the heroine is a tall heroine, so she's like 6 foot, and she's very insecure. She's always been insecure about her height, and the barbarians, they love how tall she is, and they're just fascinated because they've never seen a human woman tall like her, and she just thinks everyone's like making fun of her instead of like actually appreciating her. And also she was like not interested in the love interest. She was like annoyed with him because he would like follow her around, and then she eventually just like caves in. Like it's one of those things where it's like, wait, like why does she all of a sudden like him again? Because she used to not like him. Resonance, I guess, but even then it was like, I don't know. The main things that happens as far as like the series is concerned is that they like take in a pet cat, wild cat, and that's about it. So I gave it 3 stars on the reread. I gave it 4 stars on the first read. I don't know. I think it's just as far as like, since I know how the other books are, I guess maybe I was a bit more critical about it in comparison to all the other books. It just didn't have a lot of substance to it, which not every book has to have substance to it, but just was one of my least favorites of the year, sadly. Next I have The Unicorn's Mare. Now, this book I was so excited for. It's a unicorn shifter. This is a buddy read with Avery and Nicole. and me and Avery both like DNF'd it. I think Nicole finished it. She thought it was meh. This put me in a huge reading slump. So this was one of the last like books I read in July, and it put me into a reading slump for the rest of the year. Basically, I did read a few more things, but this was not good. It is like the 5th book in a series, so maybe there was more set up in the previous books as far as like how the world works. But even so, it was doing a lot of world building and setup for the universe, which is just like a parallel universe to the human world, instead of like talking about the unicorn. And so the fact that he like finds his mate, he's very ecstatic so that he could like produce more children and save their race. There's like his friend was like a little troll and was, I think, trying to be the comic relief. That's about all I got. They met in a coffee shop. It just didn't flow well. The pacing was very, very bad. The premise is great. It's not the fact that it was a unicorn shifter book that turned me off, obviously, but it was slow. Next I have a manga, and it is Junjo Romanctica. This is a BL, and it was cringy. Now, if my library had the rest of the series, I probably would have read it. It's one of those like, did I like it? Did I not like it? It's very problematic. It's about this boy who's going to like tutor this guy who was dating his brother. Or no, his brother's best friend. So he was gonna go tutor. Why would he tutor him? He was gonna go help this guy who is his brother's best friend. They're older, he's younger. The guy, the older guy, the best friend, he's in love with the brother, but the brother has like a serious girlfriend, and so he like he like angrily hits on and touches the boy. Well, I don't remember how old he was. The main character. There's just no consent. Like, it's the kind of a dubious consent, no consent type thing. It's another one of those angry lust things, which I don't like. It really rubs me the wrong way. And then the younger guy, he's developing genuine feelings for the guy. Despite knowing that he was in love with his brother, and it is more lust on his side, and he's kind of like fulfilling his fantasies of being with the brother by being with him. And it does kind of change a little bit over time. This is just the first volume, so I'm sure the relationship changes drastically over the series, but yeah, not my favorite thing I read. Okay, and this is the last one on my list. Not a huge list, but this one is a doozy. I've talked about it before, and it's Elfen Lied, another manga series. I did read this entire series. Ugh. It reminds me so much of The Girls by the Luna Brothers, which is another comic series that I read a few years ago. I have a rant review about it. People still watch that video and comment. By people, I mean men comment on it and tell me how wrong I am because I'm a woman. This manga series is very similar to that. So it's like a sci-fi horror. There are these beings that have psychotic powers. It's like an advanced human race basically. And they're kept on this island, and one gets out and she's very powerful, and she just starts killing people, and then like something happens to her and she like loses her memory, and she doesn't use her powers, and she can't talk. She can like barely do anything, and these people find her and they take her in. And the reason I picked this up is because this was this manga series inspired the Duffer Brothers. Is that who it is? The guys that created Stranger Things. They read this manga and it inspired them to write Stranger Things. And the only similarities is that It has like the secret warehouse where they had the kids that had psychic abilities, and then Papa, like that's like the only similar thing. Otherwise, it's not the same at all. The reason I didn't like it, so like the premise and everything, is why I kept reading, but it is full of fan service, and it's cringy because the oldest girl is 15, and there's like a 12-year-old and there's an 8-year-old, and they're like nude a lot, and they're sexualized, and they're treated horribly by men, and there's a lot of cringy father dynamics in the series, and just random detailed panty shots in the middle of like a battle scene. Like it's very sexualized. And again, like the oldest character is 15, even though she looks like she'd be in her 20s. It is said on paper she is only 15, she is 10, she is 8 or whatever, and it'll immediately like sexualize them. So it's not like it's a interpretation thing. It is legit gross. I really did like the second volume because it's mostly just backstory, and the main male character and the female power girl, they do have history, and it goes into all what happened, and they both don't remember their past, but we as the reader read that. I gave that single volume 4 stars because it was so good. There wasn't any fan service, and then like everything else was just like cringe, and then it was doing a lot of like killing off people but then immediately bringing them back. It kept doing that over and over and over and over again. And reading the series in its whole, it was very repetitive, and you soon didn't care. You had no interest in the characters, whether they died or not died, because one, they're all horrible characters, and then you knew, oh, they're probably just going to come back, and they would. So I'm not sure how long it took for the manga to come out. There might have been more of a build-up and tension, it coming out, you know, however it came out while it was actively being released, but no. It was trying to do like a harem thing too, where there was the boy or the male main character, and there was like 6 women that were constantly around him, and they all either wanted his attention or they wanted to be like his girlfriend, or it was this weird thing, and he would always accidentally fall and like be caught in a compromising position by his actual girlfriend, and that happened over and over. It was just weird. Like it felt like 2 separate things smushed together, and it just didn't jive together. Like it was trying to be a silly fan servicey manga, but it was also trying to be like a gory horror battle heavy manga with like twists and turns, and it just, when it came together, it just was icky. And like the main villain was stupid too. I don't know, it was just horrible. Like I do not recommend this. I know that there was a anime of it out. I don't know if it encompassed the entire series or what. Not sure. With the nudity, there's a lot of nudity in this series. Not sure if that was depicted on the anime, but a lot of people have said that it's like an older, or like a nostalgic favorite is the term I've heard used a lot. Yeah, I totally get that. Not sure how it was adapted, but the source material is just not worth your time, and the entire series is written in like 4 chunky omnibuses, so it's not a light read, and it's not worth it, in my opinion. Okay, those are all my least favorite reads of 2021. Let me know what you think of any of these down below. My social media links are listed down below if you want to be friends on other places. Consider subscribing if you want to see more videos from me. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!